So May has been one of the best reading months that I have had. I have had so much fun with the books that I've been reading, and I've also found some firm favourites that I just know are going to stick with me forever. My name is Fee, and if you like all things books and gaming, then this is the channel for you. As some of you may be aware, I have been having a reading month of just fantasy reads, and I have absolutely loved it. Fantasy books are where my heart lies. I just absolutely adore fantasy. I love magic and witches and vampires and fae. And I just absolutely adore them. And I have had such a good month, and I cannot wait to speak to you about a couple of books that I've completely fell in love with, and one book that I was actually a little disappointed in. The one book that I was disappointed in, sadly, was this one. I love the From Blood and Ash series, so I was really looking forward to getting to this one, starting a new series by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and I was disappointed, sadly. I rated this one 3.5 stars, and even thinking about that now, I think that could have been a bit too high. I think that this one just lacked what Blood and Ash had. I think if I'd read this one first, I probably wouldn't have even gone into From Blood and Ash because it would have put me off. I just felt like there was certain scenes in here that didn't really go anywhere. However, they were taking up so much time in chapters, so much dialogue, and I don't really usually have a problem with that. I have read some very chunky books that have a lot of dialogue in, and it's never really been a problem. However, with this one, with it being a first book, I do feel it was just a little bit too slow, so sadly this one wasn't one that I enjoyed. We have One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns. Now, I did really enjoy the first book. I rated it 4 stars. I love the whole highwayman thing. I loved the found family aspect of this one, and I also loved that on each chapter we got a little card and what that card resembled. I did feel like that didn't really happen in the second book. The chapters were a bit, like the chapter pages were a bit boring, considering we had so much from the first book. So I rated the second one, which is Two Twisted Crowns, 3.5 stars. I just didn't feel like it gave as much as the first one. You know, the first one was very action-packed, and it was leading down a road where you didn't really know what was going to happen, and the ending was really good. I just felt like the second one fell a bit flat. However, I am glad that I read this series. I know so many people absolutely love it, and I can see why. So yeah, there was that, and yeah. Read A Touch of Malice by Scarlett St. Clair. So this is the Hades and Persephone series. I absolutely loved A Touch of Darkness. I read it in about 2 days. I rated it 5 stars. I physically couldn't put it down. I did enjoy book 2, not quite as much as the first one, and sadly this one I didn't enjoy nearly enough as much as I did book 1 and 2. Again, this one I just felt like it fell a bit flat. I did really enjoy the characters, but at the same time I feel like there are so many characters within these books to try and keep track of. There were certainly characters that came into this one that had been in previous books, and I'd completely forgotten about them, so I think that didn't help at all. But I did rate this one 3.5 stars. I am going to carry on with the series because the way this one ended has definitely made me want to carry on. But I'm not necessarily in a rush to jump straight back in to the next one. Yeah. My next read I finished, I absolutely loved. I rated this one 5 stars. This is the final book in the Twin Crowns trilogy, and I just loved it. The way that this one wrapped up, the ending of the series was perfect. Again, this one was just really exciting. The magic in this book is incredible, and it matched just as well as the other books. I honestly think that this series is incredible. If you love your YA fantasy books, then this is definitely a series for you. I physically could not put this one down. I read it in about 3 days because it was just so exciting. So yeah, loved it. This was the first book that I read in May, and after finishing this one I just felt like nothing was going to top it, but I was wrong because the next book I read after this one absolutely blew me away. And then on the books that I started reading, I absolutely fell in love with, and this one has become a firm favourite of the month of the year. I get it, I get the hype, I get why everybody loves this one, and that is The Crimson Moth. I fell in love with this one. I think I read it in about 3 days because I couldn't put it down. I love the characters within this one. I really enjoyed the magic system. I felt like it was very unique. The romance as well within this one was also very good. And the ending completely left me wanting more. I really hope we're not waiting too long for the next one, because the way that this one ended just left me just staring in space, because I just needed to know what happens next, and I know I'm going to have to wait. But I also really like that about a book. I like the fact that I will be thinking about it constantly and just getting so excited for the next read. Definitely worth the hype. Everybody should read this series that love anything to do with witches and magic. Yeah, definitely a must read. And the good books just kept coming. I then picked up The Scarlet Veil, and I absolutely fell in love with this book. This book had me so gripped that I was constantly thinking about it when I wasn't reading it. Every time I was doing stuff around the house or out and about, I was just thinking, right, I need to hurry up and do this and this so I can get home and just sit with my book, because this one kept me gripped from the start. This is a spin-off series from the Serpent and Dove series. If you want to read this one, it might be worth reading the Serpent and Dove series, because there are a lot of characters from that series that are within this book. But however, that is your choice. I know a lot of people don't necessarily like the Serpent and Dove series, especially the second book, but I did really enjoy that one. And I like that we got to see so many characters as well from that one in here. But I loved the world building within this one. I loved the vampires, I loved the wittiness of it, and I loved following our main character and how her character developed. She becomes so much stronger as the book went on. And yeah, I loved it. I cannot wait for the next one. However, I have seen that it's not going to be until next year, which is really sad, because I've had this one since September. So I hate that I've got to wait so long, but I think it will be worth it. If it's anything like this one, then I know that I'm going to absolutely love book 2, and I can't wait. I cannot wait. We have another spin-off book, and that is Throne of the Fallen by Kerri Maniscalco. This is a spin-off series from the Kingdom of the Wicked series, and I love that series so much. It has such a strong place in my heart. So I was really excited to get into this one. This one we are following one of the other sins, which is the Prince of Envy and Camilla. This one has a very Caraval kind of vibe to it. So there is a games within the background that Envy has taken part in, and he needs Camilla's help to get to the end and to win, basically. But I just loved it. It was so good. It was funny, and it was just exciting, and it was spicy, and the romance scenes were really good as well. I love that we got to see some of the characters from Kingdom of the Wicked, and I haven't got to wait too long for the next one. I think this next one for this one is coming out in September, and I cannot wait. This is another one that kept me completely gripped. It was one that I just wanted to rush home and read as well. She is a chunky one. She's nearly 600 pages long, I think. Yes. But it was so worth it, and I felt like none of it was wasted. There was no wasted space at all, which I love, because I do like having a chunky book to read, as long as it's not too long and it's not necessary. But yeah, loved it. I've had such a good month, and this one was also 5 stars. So other than the first couple of books that I read, it's been a great month, and I have no other fantasy. I think I have 2 fantasy books left on my TBR. One I wanted to get to this month. Unfortunately, I just didn't get round to it, and that was another chunky read as well. So yeah, once I've read them, that's it. All I have are romance and a couple of thrillers as well. But yeah, loved it. I would love to have a fantasy month again. So I think I need to start thinking about other fantasy series that I want to start, or maybe rereading some of the ones that I already absolutely love. But that is it. That is everything that I read in the month of May. I have loved it. I have loved my fantasy books so much, as I've already said. If you have made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. And if you're not already, please consider subscribing and liking my channel. I would very much appreciate it. And I will be back next week with another video. So I will see you then. Thanks. Bye.